Happy Friday, Nemaha Central Thunder. This is Superintendent Daryl Coleman with the October 11th edition of Thunder Talks. The topic this week is one of the hardest decisions that all superintendents have to make, and that is school closure due to weather. With the weather turning a little bit cooler today, I thought it was a timely topic. So, what I want to do is talk a little bit about the factors that we consider and then the procedures of how we go about making that final determination. So, of course, the first and foremost factor we use in deciding whether or not to do a school closure is safety of students. But you got to keep in mind that means a lot of different things. Do you live in town? Are you a bus rider? Are you walking to school? We have students that are transported by others, and of course, students that are driving themselves. And that group of students that are driving themselves, I always want to remind parents that we will provide transportation to kids who are on bus routes. They don't have to drive. Leave it up to the professionals on days that might be a little bit questionable in weather. And of course, the other factor that becomes that we decide on is road conditions, but that can be very different all over our district, from the northeast to the southwest, and even the type of road, whether it be a township road, county blacktops, highways, or even in town. And then the type of weather plays a part in our decision. Is it snow? Is it ice? Is it a combination of snow and ice? What's the temperature? Is it a blowing type of snow? Those are some of the common weather factors that we take into account. And of course, the one that can really cause the biggest stressor for me as I make the decision is the timing of the weather. Is it happening during school hours? Is it happening during the early evening hours? Is it happening in the early morning hours, or is it happening right before school happens? That is a big factor in deciding whether we delay or go with a closure or even the possibility of early dismissal. So those are some of the factors we take in as we make the decision of whether or not to close school or delay it. Now, some of the procedures we go through, a lot of times if the storm is bad enough, the National Weather Service will actually do weather briefings for groups of emergency management, school personnel, highway departments, etc. And I always tune into those if those are provided. If those aren't provided, or even if they are, the other thing that we do is we drive the roads. We actually get out in vehicles, usually starting sometime between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m., and we drive and see what the conditions are really like in reality. It's not just me. Our transportation supervisor, Kenny Suckbeck, usually helps me out with that. But we try to drive on all those types of roads that I already talked about. And then I have discussion with our own administrators, principals, and director or supervisor of transportation, and what are their thoughts and factors that they might have an input on. Then I collaborate with area superintendents in our area from west of us and even to the east of us. We typically have a conference call. If it's going to be an early morning decision, we try to have that call at 5:30, or if it's needed at whatever time it's needed. We also use emails, text, and phone calls with each other. I try to make the final decision by 6:30 in the morning. Can make it earlier, that's great, but that's about as late as we'll go without a decision. And so then once the decision is made, the best thing you can do, of course, is you can check social media, radio, and TV stations. Where we now have our own mobile app. I would really encourage you to download that mobile app to your phone and sign up for notifications. And that'll be the fastest way, because that'll probably be the first place that we'll put any decisions that we make. If we're going to go at a regular time and have school, we won't put out something. That's usually saved only if we're going to make a change or a closure. I do want to remind parents that you have the final decision. You know what's right for your student or your child. And if you don't think it's safe, keep them at home. Just call into the office and report that, hey, I'm keeping my kids home today. I don't feel like it's safe, and so I'm made the decision. That's your decision. It's an excused absence. Again, if it's due to you don't want them to drive, I would encourage you to contact your bus driver and let them know, hey, so and so doesn't usually ride, but they're going to ride today. They are professional drivers. So that's kind of a brief look at how the decision is made for school closures. If you have questions, don't ever hesitate to give me a call. It's 336-6101. Appreciate you tuning in. And as always, keep doing it the Nemaha Central way.